Well, time for us to look at those current affairs and the things that have been happening over the weekend. Let's recap on some of the news and check to see if there's something different or something interesting that we might discover through current affairs, obviously. The school governing body made several pleas to the Provincial Department of Education to request more teachers, but every request was met with the same response. In the middle of last year, parents of learners at Puti Siopa, the only secondary school in the Limpopo village of Dibeng, took a decision to move their children to another school in a neighboring village. The school, which ran from grade 10 to 12, had a shortage of teachers, but critically, the matric class did not have mathematics and physical science teachers. The school governing body, SGB, made several pleas to the Provincial Department of Education to request more teachers, but every request was met with the same response. The department always told us they could only send teachers to school if there were 200 learners or more. Our school had less than 100 learners, the SGB chairperson said. Now, the school, in fact, the South African Schools Act of 1996 provides for the merger and the Section 33 for the closure of public schools. Now, this is sad because it's a direct impact for the children who were suffering because they couldn't get what they needed for their studies. After much deliberation and interaction, the SGB and the department, a decision was taken to pair Puti Siopa with Mawaneng Secondary School in the neighboring village of Khomo. The Department of Basic Education's guidelines on the school rationalization process say that small schools exist in a complex environment with much diversity. Many of the challenges of small, rural, and farm schools can be resolved through mergers and closures. The guidelines further say this process may involve pairing of schools with different backgrounds through the creation of a single school governing body and sharing the resources. As a result of the pairing, the Provincial Department of Education organized a bus to ferry the learners to Mawaneng Secondary School daily. Teachers from Puti Siopa also relocated to the school, but still there were no new mathematics and physical science teachers for the matrics. We were supposed to be taught by teachers from Mawaneng, but most of the time they were teaching the learners from Mawaneng. They were busy with the learners when they had been teaching all along, so we spent most of the year without a teacher. He was in the mathematics, science, and geography stream. Not having teachers for both his major subjects put him and the 17 other learners in the matric class at great risk of failing the exams. But community members backed by the SGB ensured that learners were not neglected. Later in the year, after the consultation between the SGB and the community and teaching staff, a decision was taken to arrange a camp for the matrics and their school in Dibeng. The learners spent 17 days at the school studying and being taught in preparation for the examinations. They say it takes a village to raise a child. In KwaZulu-Natal, Nkandla, Abatembu King Buyelekhaya Dalindyebo paid a visit to former President Jacob Zuma at Nkandla. The purpose of the king's visit was to check in on the former president following his recent release from prison on medical parole. King Dalindyebo's spokesperson, Prince Mthunzi Ngonyama, says the visit was to show moral support for Zuma and had nothing to do with politics. In Johannesburg, the Hawks in Gauteng have arrested an ABSA specialist engineer who fraudulently transferred over 100 million rand into 6 different bank accounts on numerous transactions. The fraudulent transfers allegedly took place between September and December last year. The suspect, Xolela Masebeni, was traced and arrested in Queenstown in the Eastern Cape. The Hawks' Ndivuo Mulamu said he was charged with theft and appeared in court the following day. Our investigations team apprehended Xolani or Xolela Masebeni. The allegations are that Masebeni transferred approximately 103 million rand into numerous bank accounts. Jeez, dude. That's a lot of money. Anyway, Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga has expressed sadness and utter shock over the death of a Tembisa deputy principal who was killed in a hail of bullets. The 50-year-old the 50-year-old woman was gunned down at Pumulong Secondary School in Tembisa on Friday, the 21st of January. She had been driving out of the school gate when three gunmen allegedly suddenly appeared and allegedly shot her 3 times through the passenger window. Reacting to the deputy principal's killing, Motshekga sends condolences to her friends and family, as well as teaching staff and pupils at her school. She says, "It shocked me to the core that criminals dare and shoot at and kill a teacher inside the school premises. Schools are supposed to be safe places of learning and teaching, and it is quite alarming that armed individuals, can stroll into a school and commit such a barbaric act. I wish to express my sincere condolences to the family of the deceased teacher, Pumulong High School staff and learners, including those who allegedly witnessed this traumatic incident." Guys, we need to get these kind of things right, you know? The accusations of theft stand at the center of the controversial, now cancelled U.S. auction of items and artifacts belonging to the late President Nelson Mandela. On January 28th, New York-based Guernsey's auctions house was due to put up a bid about 100 of Mandela's personal items, ranging from his iconic patterned shirts and gifts from former U.S. President Barack Obama and other heads of state to some statesmen's personal effects, such as glasses and briefcases. The auction was planned to raise money for a memorial garden at Mandela's burial site in Qunu in the Eastern Cape, but it was the inclusion of a key to Mandela's cell in Robben Island, offered to the auction by his former guard, Crystal Brand, that caused consternation and resulted in the involvement of the Arts and Culture Ministry. Ultimately, Brand said he would withdraw the item from the auction. But now it appears the auction has been completely cancelled. There is no longer any preference or reference to the auction of the Guernsey's website, and the U.S. site, page 6, quoting Guernsey's president Alan Ettinger, said that the auction was no longer going ahead as we had major controversy. So Ettinger was all quoted as saying that the SA Heritage Resources Agency determined that these items were potential national treasures, and hence something is designated, it requires permits to leave SA. He added the Mandela family didn't apply for these permits because they didn't know they had to. Now, our sister publication, they say, the Daily Times, reached out to Guernsey's and the SAHRA. At the center of the controversy, however, are allegations that Mandela's daughter, Magaziwe Mandela, removed the items from Mandela's Houghton house. Sunday Times Daily contacted Magaziwe on Friday morning, but after the reporter introduced himself, she immediately cut the call. There was also no response to text and WhatsApp messages. Ndaba Mandela, Mandela's grandson, said on Friday that in March last year, while he was not at the Houghton house, Magaziwe came to the home and started removing various items. He said his younger brother Andile was at home at the time. He said Magaziwe removed the beds, paintings, carpets, you name it. He said then opened theft charge. He said he then opened theft charges against her at the Norwood police station in Johannesburg. SAPS spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Mavela Masondo said a case of theft was opened in Norwood police station. Statements were obtained from witnesses and warning statements obtained from the suspect. The document was then taken to court for a decision. Police are still waiting for the decision of the court. Yay! It gets very interesting. More fire. A fire broke out at Waterkloof Air Force Base in Pretoria on Sunday evening, the SA National Defence Force confirmed. The fire started at about 7 p.m. and was put out within an hour, the spokesperson said. He said the fire started at the bulk fuel depot The cause of the fire, the magnitude of damage, and cost of damage to the bulk fuel depot will form part of an investigation that will interrogate all events and or incidents that might have led up to the fire at the base. No structural damage was reported, says Mahapa. Finally, and further afield in this beautiful continent of Africa, in Burkina Faso, soldiers staged a revolt in several army bases to demand the departure of army chiefs and better means to fight extremists. The army uprising is the latest threat to President Roch Marc Christian Kabore in the face of jihadist violence that struck the country in 2015. On the streets, many reclaim the need for change at the top. We have seen enough, and we don't want the crying. We don't want the orphans. We have seen enough. The president must leave. He has to leave. We support the soldiers. They must resist. Others who opted to stay anonymous added, we have heard that the army is going to take over and we support the army. Tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, even before we supported the army. So we, the population, really went out to support the struggle. May they go further, because what we really want is a truly united nation. Because Burkina Faso has been scattered. There are no more villages. There are too many displaced people. So whoever can't do it should just leave it. That's all, said another activist. On that note, that's how we end our current affairs moments.
We are extraterrestrial. We are KNR.